Lovelies! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Maria and today's video is going to be a really exciting one because we are going to be going to a book signing in Belfast, and I did have an intro for this video on the day that I went, but unfortunately that clip has disappeared. But I do have all the clips that I got while I was there, so all is not lost. But basically about a week ago I went to a book signing in Belfast. It was one of the first of its kind in Belfast really. We don't get a lot of things that come here, so I was really excited when I seen this event. I think it was maybe about 6 or 7 months ago. I was looking to see if there was going to be any book events in Belfast and this one came up, and it is mostly romantasy authors that were there, and as I say, generally we don't really get a lot of things like that in Belfast, and this was basically the first of its kind to come to Belfast as well, so was really excited to be a part of that and just to experience something like that, because I know that we have Rare in London and in Edinburgh and things like that, but getting tickets for that with such a big event can be really difficult, and quite honestly I think I might be a bit daunted going to a big event like that because I was going on my own, so I was a little bit nervous and a little bit apprehensive about going to the event and kind of being there on my own, not really knowing anyone or anything. So I'm really glad that I did do this one first. It was one of my first book signing events because it was a little bit smaller, but there were still plenty of authors there, plenty of vendors, plenty of big names there as well. So you will see in the B-roll, but we had Raven Kennedy, Penelope Douglas, Miranda Lynn, and just quite a few different big names in the romantasy genre, I would say. So even though it was a bit of a smaller event just because of the venue, I think there was definitely plenty of authors to see there. And what I loved about it was that they were mostly indie authors, so there was quite a few indie authors there, or authors that definitely started out as indie published, even though they may be traditionally published now. So I really loved that kind of inclusion and kind of the concentration on that indie side of things, because it is a shame that sometimes they do get overlooked. But I think with the insurgence of BookTok and Bookstagram and things like that, indies are definitely having a bit of a different platform now and a bit of a different marketing tool with those sites. So it's really nice to see them getting hyped and recognised more quickly than maybe they would have in past times. So yeah, I will go into kind of the details of the event once we've went through kind of the clips from the day, but without further ado, let's just get into the B-roll.
Good about myself because I'm not perfect and I never will be, and it's really easy to, as you said, relate to those small things that they have that make you go, actually it's okay for me to be like that and it's okay for me to be annoyed.
That leads on to another question I wanted to ask about when you're writing a morally grey character. Is that something that's difficult to occupy that particular headspace? Do you need to compartmentalise that? Or is it almost a cathartic process to a certain extent where you're able to go from heart to limb to pen?
I think it's like a therapy, because I'm not allowed to kill people in person. But
you're not allowed to get caught.
Get caught.
People tell me all the time, I'm faking my disability. I have Tourette syndrome. Y'all don't see me ticking right now, but y'all are gonna sit there and go, oh, I didn't see you tick, so you don't have Tourette syndrome. But that is what I get on the internet. I get it all the time. And it's just kind of to the point where you just have to learn to ignore it and just continue to stand proud in that kind of thing when it comes to the visibility of it.
And I think also it's one of the things I really like about the indie community is I get lifted up by authors who aren't queer, authors who aren't neurodiverse or disabled. The fact that Nikita's organised this panel here today is really indicative of the fact that people want to support other people. We want to, love is love. Sometimes there are different genitals involved. Who gives a damn? Like.
Heard from a wee birdie that you are a big fan of dark chocolate, is that correct? Dark chocolate and tea?
Fine, yeah.
Well, on behalf of everyone here, we just wanted to give you this wee present to say thank you for being here.
Chance to come back, I was like, yes.
Beautiful. Let's dive straight into it. So first of all, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it so much. And starting right into the Plated Prisoner series. The character of Aaron is one that a lot of readers really resonate with. Did you always know when you were writing this character that it would have such an impact on not only the readers, but also the wider scope of the entire sphere of literature?
I mean, I didn't want to just write fantasy romance. If I was gonna do this, I wanted to have like deeper underlying reasons for why I was writing her. So I knew going into it that I was gonna go on some darker, heavier themes that could resonate with like the real world, but in the safety of a fantasy.
That's a huge transition point from even 5 years ago, but certainly from 10 years ago. How we narrated audiobooks 10 years ago is not how we're doing it now. Now it is explosive, it's dynamic, it's in duet, it's with multiple narrators, it's with full casts, it's with sound effects, and that didn't exist. And so that's because people show how much they love it because they express themselves through social media, and that's, yeah, changed it.
And Ronnie, as an author, how do you feel that BookTok, Bookstagram has changed, influenced, heightened the awareness of the way we consume literature?
So I've only been published coming up to a year now, but I've got colleagues.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I've got colleagues or friends who've been at it for well over a decade, 2 decades, indie published, and they were like, it was not like that 10 years ago. So for them, they felt like they probably had to reshape their whole marketing strategy. Social media for an author, it's a marketing tool. It's, you know, you kind of feel almost pushed to do it. It's a great way to meet readers. It's a really wholesome kind of space on BookTok, Bookstagram, but yeah, it really shapes it, and it's always changing, and you almost feel you have to keep up with the trends.
And it's slowly evolved, and you get some character voices, but if you listen to books, audiobooks that were made in the 80s and 90s, they didn't even do character voices. It was just kind of a flat read. Doesn't mean that it wasn't wonderful, because you can do you can still, without putting character voice to it, you can still have emotion, but it was, compared to now, it was demure, it was almost not quite passive, but on that track. Now, people love duet narration. I love doing duet narration. That's when, no matter whose point of view chapter it is, I am reading every single female line of dialogue, and the male is reading every single line of male dialogue. There is an expense to it. That is because I have never done a duet that I record at the same time as my male co-narrator. We are almost always recording separately in our home studios or in production studios separate. And so the cost to edit those lines and go through and have an editor do it precisely so it sounds like a conversation is expensive. It's an expensive product, but when it's done well, it is so well loved and so influential, and it's like a conversation. It's exactly what you want it to be, and we can do more sound effects with that way. If they're making out, you can have a little bit more emotion to it, without being gross lip smacking, but you can do more. I can put more into my characters when I'm doing duet. I still put I do fantasy. I came in because I am a avid fantasy reader. I wanted to that. So I've always done trolls and witches, and I've always put voices to my character. But again, I've only been narrating for 5-6 years. So I came in when everyone was hungry for that. And so it's perfect for me. Now for people that have been narrating for longer than that, they have to put more into it because that was not the expectation, that was not what people wanted. So now we're in this transitional phase of how much is too much, because audio dramas, if you like graphic audio, some people love graphic audio. That's, knocking on the door sounds. That's, a body splats on the ground and you hear the splat, So some people love that. There are traditionalists or people that have grew up with the really demure audiobooks that now hate sound effects. And then there's kind of the crossover between. So if your first audiobook was in duet, you hate dual narration.
So as you will have seen from the big roll, there was plenty to do and see there. As I say, there was plenty of authors there was plenty of vendors selling kind of bookish things when we got there as well. But first, when I arrived, basically you just had to go to the sign-in desk, and I was what was called a silver reader, so I had like a silver ticket. Basically just got me some early entry and some swag as well. And the swag was actually really, really good, so I'll just go through that first. So basically when we got there, we got this little tote which basically just says Belfast Books and Ballgowns, which is the name of the event, which I don't think I mentioned in the opening clip. But basically the event overall was a book signing, but then in the evening there was also a fantasy ball that they were holding, and unfortunately I didn't get a ticket for that. I wasn't quick enough to get a ticket for that, but there were quite a few people who were at the signing who were going to be going to the ball as well, including some of the authors. So as I say, as part of my ticket I did get some swag as well. So the first thing was obviously the tote bag. Then we also did get quite a few things in there as well. So the first thing is a candle, so it's called the Twilight Forest, and it just has some kind of merchandising on there as well, and it actually smells really nice. There was a vendor there that was selling some of these as well that had some different flavors and things like that. This one's really nice. It's quite fresh and kind of, I suppose it smells like a forest, the Twilight Forest, but you do also get kind of little trinkets in there as well. Once you've burnt it down you can take those out and they're just quite pretty. But yeah, really like the smell of that one. I'm definitely going to be looking up that vendor again to see if they do online sales, because some of their candles are really nice. Next up we got this little bookish key ring. So I haven't opened this yet, but I will take it out of the packaging so that you can see it. But it's just like a little wooden key ring with a book design on there. Hopefully, let me just see if that's going to focus. Yeah, I think that's focusing now. So yeah, just a little book design on there as well. So really pretty. And then we got this thing which is actually pretty cool. I hadn't seen this before, but it's basically corners that you can put onto your books, so little gold corners, just to make them look a little bit fancy. So I hadn't actually thought of ever buying anything like this before, but it's actually pretty cool if you have some favourite editions and you want to really take care of them and make sure they don't get damaged. I think they would look pretty cool, so just deciding which one I'm going to put those on. And then next up we got a little bookish necklace, so it just has a little book pendant on there. And then I did get this sword/dagger pendant from one of the authors as well, so I may add that on there and kind of wear those together. Then they did give us a pen, I'm guessing for if an author didn't have a pen to sign something. Then just another little key ring. It's kind of like a fantasy-esque key on there. And then lastly we got this bookmark. Now I'm not sure who the art is supposed to be of, but it's just kind of your generic maybe fantasy couple with a little castle on the back there as well. So some really good swag in there. Oh, and we did get some stickers as well, so there's quite a few stickers in there to go through, but yeah, some really fun swag considering that the ticket wasn't really that expensive. I think it was around 26 or 27 pounds, so for an event the way that it was run and everything like that, considering you get all of this as well, it wasn't actually that expensive. So yeah, really happy with all the swag that we got with the ticket. And obviously, as you'll have seen from the B-roll, the day was just really expertly set up. I think the way it was organised and everything, I didn't feel awkward. I was there on my own, but it definitely felt like you weren't there alone. It definitely felt like everyone was kind of with each other, and you definitely felt that sense of community as well. And what was great about it was that if you were on your own and you were kind of maybe at a loss of what to do, there were basically author panels the whole way through the day, so you could go up to the front and sit and listen to them, hear what they have to say. There were some narrators on there as well. The narrator that was there, Laura Horowitz, so I actually recognised her voice, and straight away I was like, I wonder if she's narrated anything that I've listened to. And I'd basically just finished listening to Phantasma, which is narrated by herself, so that's why I could recognise her voice. But it's just really interesting getting their insights and getting her insights, and especially from the indie author side of things in terms of trying to get published and kind of the community that they need to build. As I was saying with BookTok and Bookstagram and everything like that, it's a bit of a different minefield for them. If you're new to it, obviously that's what you're used to, but I know there's a lot of indies out there who have been working at this for quite a long time. So the panels were really interesting and I really enjoyed them. And as I say, if you were on your own, it kind of made you feel like you weren't really at a loss for what to do, or made it easier for you if you're not someone who would interact with people that you don't know, and essentially just meant that you didn't feel lonely throughout the day. But the main event that I was there for was obviously meeting the authors, getting some books signed and things like that, and the first author that I wanted to go to was Raven Kennedy. But I did also get quite a few books while I was there, but as I say, the first author I wanted to get to was Raven Kennedy. She's one of my all-time favourites. She wrote the Plated Prisoner series, which I initially read when it was indie published, so I think the first 3 books were indie, and then I think it got picked up from maybe the 4th or 5th book, something like that anyway. So absolutely love her, really love that series, but all the books that I have in that series are already signed, so I thought there's no point bringing those books to get signed when they're already signed. So I decided to bring my indie copies of her other series, which I haven't read yet, but I do think I'm going to enjoy it, and that's the Signs of Cupidity, or the Heart Hassle series basically. I've only got the first 2 books in the indie copies, but decided to bring these along to get them both signed, and so she did actually sign and personalise them both. I thought it was quite nice that they did ask if you wanted it personalised. I mean, for me personally, I'm never going to get rid of these books now that they've been signed, but I know that some people may not have read the books or may end up having to, you know, get rid of their books in the future, so quite good if you didn't want to get it personalised. But as I say, for me personally, I won't be getting rid of these. So I managed to get those both signed, and when I was there she had like a few different bits that you could pick up, and essentially I just got a little art print from from the Plated Prisoner series, and then one for the Heart Hassle series, which, as I say, I haven't read it yet, but I do really want to read this one soon. And then just another little sticker from the Plated Prisoner series. So she was absolutely lovely. I was really nervous going up to her table because, as I say, I've never been to one of these signings before, so I was completely overthinking, what do I say to her, how do I kind of interact with her, am I allowed to talk to her for a while? So I just done the most basic thing and was like, how has your time been in Ireland? And she was really lovely. She was really sweet, and managed to get my photo with her as well, so I'll put that on screen as well. But yeah, really loved meeting her. She was really lovely, and again, her panel, she ended up being one of the guest speakers, so it was really interesting hearing her insights and her writing her books and everything like that. So yeah, really delighted that I got to meet her. And then in one of the other author panels, I heard an author, Ronnie Matthews, talking about recently being indie published. I think she's been published for around a year now, and her series aren't fantasy, but they are kind of small town romances, and I just thought she sounded like a really lovely person. I really liked the sound of her kind of stories and humour, so decided to go and check out her table and see what she had there. And she actually had the first edition copy of her first book, which is Those Two Words, and I believe this one is just friends to lovers, small town romance, as I say, and I think it's maybe brother's best friend or something like that. I'm not sure if I've got those tropes wrong, but just sounded really cute. I really enjoyed the Chestnut Springs series, so thinking that this might be something that I'll enjoy as well, and I just really love this cover. So this is the first kind of indie cover that she had. She has now changed them, so she has a full series and they all match. I'll put the covers on the screen so that you can see them and maybe recognise them, but when I was at her desk, I seen that she had this cover, and this is the original cover she had, and I just thought it was really pretty, so decided to go with this one. Even though it won't match the rest of the series, I just couldn't pass this one up, so I'll be really excited to read this one once I get to it, and I think this would be a perfect summer read, so hopefully that will be soon. And then next up, I ended up going by Miranda Lynn's table. So she wrote a book that I had on my TBR a couple of months ago, which sadly I didn't get to, but I think most people have heard of it, and it's Till Death, which is, I believe, kind of a Moulin Rouge inspired fantasy romance or something like that. Again, I haven't read it, so I'm not too sure, but when I walked past her table, I realised that I've actually had this book on my Kindle Unlimited TBR for a really long time, but again, just haven't read it yet, so decided to go over and pick up a copy of this and get it signed by her as well. And again, she did have a couple of things that I could take, so she gave me a little art print from this series as well, and then this is just kind of her, I think, marketing card for all of her books. But this one, again, I don't have too much information about what this one's about. I just know it's witchy, I know it's a fantasy romance, I believe there's witch trials in here as well, so I always really love anything that's encompassing that, and I think this would be a perfect kind of September, October book. So again, I'll be really excited to get to this one once I'm able to. And then obviously we're based in Ireland, so I was looking around for some Irish authors to see if there was any Irish fantasy there that I hadn't heard of, and the one that I came across is Realm of Lore and Lies by Claire Wright, and this is the Fair Ones series, book 1. And straight away when I seen the cover of this one, I was just thinking, just looks really whimsical, looks like it's going to be quite intriguing, and as I say, she's a local Irish author, so I was really on the hunt for anything in that kind of realm. And again, she gave me a couple of art prints to go with the book. So the first one, which I am going to frame because it's absolutely beautiful, is this kind of old worldly style map of Ireland, and yeah, I think that just looks beautiful, so I'm really excited to get that framed and put it up. And then there was a couple of art prints from the book as well, which really did sell me on the story. It looks like it's going to be really fun. And in this one, I believe we've got fae, we've got kind of different realms. I believe it kind of goes around the lore of Tiernan Og, and again, that's all I really wanted to know. I just wanted a kind of local Irish author to pick up something from, and Claire was the one that I decided to pick up. So again, really excited for this one, really excited to have a signed copy, and hopefully it'll be one that I really enjoy. And then lastly, when I was walking around, I was looking at the vendors to see if there was anything that I could pick up, and I ended up picking up this bookmark, which I just thought was really pretty, really fits in the theme for most of the books that I read, so I decided to pick this up just as another little token of the day. So yeah, overall I think I was pretty reserved. I did go with these 2 top books, so I only ended up picking 3 books because honestly they were quite heavy, and obviously I would have to carry them from the venue, but I feel like I was pretty restrained. There was so many books and so many authors there that I really wanted to pick up, but decided to curb my enthusiasm and just pick up those 3 from them. But yeah, overall it was just a really amazing day. I really loved getting to meet all of the authors and just to kind of experience that book event atmosphere and kind of take my first dive into doing that. As I say, I was on my own, but I definitely didn't feel lonely, and I just think the organisers done a really good job of making it feel that way, making it feel like it was a community. And yeah, I think they've announced that they're going to be doing another one in 2027, so I've got my eyes peeled for those tickets because I'd really like to go to the ball as well. It looked like they had a lot of fun. So yeah, overall just really loved my day there. But yeah, that's everything for this video. It probably is a bit of a shorter one. I I was supposed to do kind of a bookish things video, but time's got away from me, so I thought I'd still post this one because I do think it was a really fun day. Let me know if you've ever been to a book signing or any book events or anything like that. Definitely put in the comments below if you think there's ones that I would enjoy, even if they're in the UK. If you've been to any you think I would enjoy, put them in the comments below, and let me know if you've ever met any of your favourite authors, what the experience was like. I'm really on a bit of a high from that event, and I'm basically looking to get that any other way that I can. And if you've got nothing to comment, just put a little book emoji in the bottom to let me know that you got to the end. If you like this video, do remember to give it a like, and if you want to see more from me, remember to subscribe. I usually post 2 videos per week, and it's videos like this, so bookish things, TBR jars, reading vlogs, all good bookish things like that. Other than that, thanks so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye!